the Whitman Massacre and the Cayuse War. In the early days of 1847, on the vast lands of Oregon, a group of newly arrived American settlers established a small community near the Willamette River. The fertile land promised prosperity, but coexistence with the local indigenous tribes was far from peaceful. Among the tribes, the Cayuse stood out with their traditions and ways of life. The settlers, eager to expand and claim land, often clashed with the natives. However, there was a missionary, Dr. Marcus Whitman, who sought a different approach. Marcus Whitman was a Presbyterian medical missionary who arrived in the region in 1836 with his wife Narcissa. Whitman and his wife befriended the Cayuse Indians and worked to help them adapt to the presence of the settlers. Whitman was also an advocate for peace between the indigenous people and the settlers. He believed that the two parties could coexist peacefully if they worked together. Whitman tried to mediate various conflicts between the two groups, but without success. Marcus, a principled man, spent years among the natives learning about their cultures and traditions. He spoke the Cayuse language and knew their stories. His respectful approach and desire to understand gained the trust of many indigenous people. As tensions escalated between the settlers and the tribes, Marcus tried to mediate the conflict. In 1847, a smallpox epidemic killed many Cayuse Indians. The Cayuse were furious with the settlers, whom they believed had brought the disease. They attacked Whitman's mission station, killing him, his wife, and 11 other missionaries. This event became known as the Whitman Massacre or the Walla Walla Incident. It occurred in the Oregon country on November 29, 1847, marking the beginning of the Cayuse War. This was the first of several wars between the natives and American settlers in that region, leading to negotiations between the United States and the natives of the Columbia Plateau and the creation of a series of indigenous reserves. In 1850, the military brought 5 Cayuse men to the capital of the Oregon country to be tried for the murder of the Whitmans. All 5 Cayuse were convicted by a military commission and hanged on June 3, 1850. The hanging was conducted by U.S. Marshal Joseph L. Meek. This did not end the conflict, and sporadic bloodshed continued for another 5 years until the Cayuse were finally defeated in 1855. Due to their defeat, the Cayuse were greatly diminished. In 1855, they ceded most of their tribal lands, reserving the Umatilla Indian Reservation for the Umatilla and Walla Walla peoples. The war had significant long-term consequences for the region. The Cayuse War undoubtedly highlighted the approaching presence of the United States government. However, when the war ended, the provisional government ceased to exist. In its place emerged a new, more robust, and more permanent government capable of negotiating effectively with the natives.